This next series is a very important one for Method Orange, of course, with their competition already eliminated, Resurgent down, the move down. This is an opportunity for them to push that lead. They're already guaranteed to have 20 more points than the move at the end of this weekend. If they can win here, that suddenly becomes a 60-point swing. It would be absolutely huge, a top 3 finish for Method Orange. That is exactly where they want to be. If they can beat the boys, they will be in a good situation. But equally, the boys did have a good series against them last weekend. I think they actually knocked them both down out of upper, and they knocked them in lower. So the boys have had their number, but Sea-Doo did start to improvise a little bit on that Holy Paladin, and that's what we're looking for potentially here today.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see if Sea-Doo is gonna bring in the Holy Paladin, Frost Mage, Windwalker. So Gorecki also going to be playing the Resto Shaman. So both healers right now swapping off of the Resto Druid, which is what we typically see in this matchup. Very interesting. We're going to see if it works out. I think that the Holy Paladin could work if they go for a long game here.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Kind of a rogue mage Paladin almost, but Trill on the Windwalker. It's what we saw from Get Your Boy Dog. It's Sea-Doo on that Paladin. 64% of you guys think they're going to be able to win this one as we kick off the game here on the Grand Arena.
Yeah, Blinding Light into Paralysis on a Gorecki. Good pressure here developing for Method Orange. Full Hammer of Justice. These crowd control chains are a little bit scary for Gorecki to deal with, but now that they've faded, I mean, Sea-Doo's actually making an offensive push with his Avenging Crusader. Chun-Li could be in a little bit of trouble, and Sam-I-Am with the Blessing of Freedom is going to be looking quite healthy to escape and run away. The thing is, with Gorecki on the Resto Shaman, he's going to be able to purge off the Ice Bear. He's going to be able to purge off the Blessing of Freedom, and maybe the boys sort of anticipated this pick coming in from Method Orange, because I think the Shaman is going to really help Chun-Li and Smexen stay on target.
Chun-Li already burning through Fortified and Brew, as well as the Touch of Karma. Touch of Death available for Trill. You could definitely lead here with the next leg sweep. Potentially just kill Chun-Li outright if Gorecki isn't careful. Chun-Li gonna portal away and try and stall that attack as long as possible. Trill instead using the Touch of Death on Smexen and switching targets. I'm not the biggest fan of this swap to the Death Knight. Maybe deeper into dampening that would have made sense, but this early on it doesn't really. And Sam-I-Am's now in trouble. Big hits that purge off the Ice Barrier.
That's an overlap
that is
too.
A significant error on the side of Method Orange.
Big mistakes from Method Orange. Sam-I-Am almost going down. Complete panic mode. Big burst from the boys. What is Method Orange going to do? This is such an important match for them. They have to win this series against the boys if they want to keep collecting as many points as possible. Their spot at the Summer Finals is not secure whatsoever. Smexen getting bursted down. Paralysis on Gorecki. Good offensive push here by Method Orange. Asphyxiate stun going to be landing over onto Sea-Doo, and they are getting damage rolling on Sam-I-Am. He hasn't used the Cold Snap just yet, but certainly wants to get that rolling as soon as possible. Temporal Shield going to be rolling in. Trill with a defensive leg sweep onto Chun-Li, onto Smexen, buys Sea-Doo enough time with that Avenging Crusader to top off his team.
All right, Sea-Doo going to stabilize. Chun-Li recovering. Method Orange switch to Smexen again. They have burned a ton of Gorecki's mana. An insane amount of mana this early on, but I think that's more attributed to Gorecki using Purge to remove the Ice Barrier of Sam-I-Am. That seems to be the strategy that the boys want to implement here as a counter to the Frost Mage, is bringing in the Shaman to remove Ice Barrier. It works against the Paladin Mage, but against the Druid Mage, there's a lot more buffs to work through. It may net them victory, though. Sam-I-Am's just outright dead. The
what just happened?
Clean up Method Orange in less than 3 minutes.
What an insane game coming in from the boys. Once again, just massive damage. Sam-I-Am was just really so reluctant to use his Cold Snap and get his Ice Block off cooldown. He had one available. Honestly, a little bit of a throw in this game.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I was eating a snack, so I thought I had a couple of minutes in it. He doesn't use the Cold Snap. That's an absolute disaster. Sam-I-Am, Sam-I-Was, I suppose, at the end of that one. Oh dear, I think it's the summary for that.
I think Chun-Li was eating a snack there as well, but it was a different kind of snack there. Yeah, a little frosty one.
Yeah,
that was a lot of
frosting on it as well. His looked tastier though.
Definitely looked tastier, considering there is Summer Finals on the line for these guys. Sam-I-Am, I mean, we've been hyping him up for, you know, being such a great mage, but I think a lot of it also comes down to Sea-Doo on that Holy Paladin overlapping that Hand of Sacrifice early earlier on with that ice block. You can see how those two cooldowns both have about a minute passed on them, and that's a big mistake to make here from Method Orange when Samayam dropped so much in that initial attack. And here, Samayam's just going for that polymorph out of the Hammer of Justice.
It's crazy. When you look at this situation, you really wonder how he's going to die.
There's no touch of death.
Yeah. That's a lot of damage, to be honest. Maybe the touch of karma was hitting for a lot. It's the touch of karma with the orb.
You can't cold snap and stuns, right?
Yeah,
you can.
What? So why didn't he? Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, CD was going for a divine favor heal as well. So I mean, you being a mage as well. 90% of the time when we don't block,
it's the healer's fault, right? Yeah, exactly.
Well, our healers, don't block. You can hold.
Sam's like, should I block? Should I block? Should I block? He's like, no, got you. You're fine. You're fine.
It's definitely the healer's fault here, right?
Yeah.
So there's no fault on the mage ever. Yeah, exactly. It's always the healer's fault.
You play with us.
Situation. Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Yeah, it's like no, absolutely.
and then when
definitely on the healer, that one cold snap available, but no ice block coming in. And I mean, to be honest, it's probably just a miscommunication, right? Like we've seen situations like this. Unfortunate for Method Orange, but looking at the matchup, it certainly wasn't looking in their favor. Even if that hadn't happened, that would have been 2 ice blocks down, Hand of Sacrifice. I mean, even taking the matchup aside, the one time they did use defensive cooldowns, they overlapped a lot of them. The second time they didn't use any, they were just behind in this game.
Yeah, it just felt like this was one of those games that really didn't go the way Method wanted it to go. They started off on the back foot, greeted a little bit. Samayam dropped into that super panic mode level of HP, immediately decided to use his ice block, and, you know, Sidhu had to use his sacrifice as well, and the ideal trade to make is sacrifice, and that's the thing. You have to build up that synergy with your healer over time, where it's like, you have to trust me. I will use sacrifice on you. I mean, we saw with Mew Mew Kitty Cats as well, like Rub Cup, going for heals. If he gets interrupted, he's immediately going to use that sacrifice, and it basically just becomes, you know, one of those situations where it's like, you know what? I will give you a Hand of Sacrifice, or you will die. Never use the ice block there, and then you kind of just build up that trust.
I kind of wonder why Method Orange didn't just play Windwalker Death Knight.
Yeah, it's weird, that one.
Schooled in mirrors. Oh, you mean with the Holy Paladin?
Yeah, with the Holy Paladin. Maybe they were expecting a counter. Like, you know what I found really ironic about this series is Gorecki beat Sidhu on the Shaman. Like, Gorecki, we talk about him as a Druid player. He plays the Shaman in the blind pick here to pull the victory. But it is weird as to why I was expecting that as blind as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's some sort of evolution in this matchup where the boys were losing to Method Orange, playing the Windwalker Mage Paladin, and then Gorecki decided to play the Shaman instead so he could help out with the Purges, and the Purges seem really strong from the Restoration Shaman. I mean, we talk about how durable the Frost Mage is, but if you can take Temporal Shield off, if you can take off Ice Bearer and Blessing of Freedom, all of a sudden they're not that bad of a target to hit. That's a lot of defense lost all of a sudden from Samayam. So the boys with the Shaman, they're going to be looking strong. I would be completely blown away if Method Orange doesn't lock in Windwalker Death Knight with an alternate healer, maybe the Paladin.
Maybe the Shaman, I mean...
Maybe the Druid, maybe the
They should have an advantage, surely.
I always just want, like, in these situations, I always want Method Orange to just try to mirror match and win.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, I think Sidhu tweeted out when they had their mirrors with Druid healers that the reason they lost was because Gorecki was just the better Druid. That definitely shouldn't be true on Shaman. You would think that he would fancy his chances, Shaman v Shaman.
Yeah, I mean, you would definitely fancy your Shaman. I mean, they're both really good Shaman. When I think of Gorecki, I don't necessarily think of Resto Druid.
This is, I mean, I actually, when you look at this on paper, you say that Windwalker Mage should beat Windwalker Death Knight. I think that's fair to say, right? Like, in the past, we've definitely always said that. But it seems like the boys have been beating Method Orange consistently on the Druid version of this comp. There must be something about the Paladin. I mean, that first game wasn't good from Method Orange.
Yeah. I think the Druid is just better in this matchup, to be honest. But there's got to be some reason why they decide to go for the Holy Paladin. Didn't look good in game number 1, but it's also one game of sample size where, you know,
they made a lot of mistakes.
Things just didn't go their way in game number 1. So now we're going to have another game of data to kind of analyze. But I feel like I personally didn't really like how that went. I think the boys have a pretty nice win condition with those purges on Samayam, but we'll have to see if it works out. I'm also kind of curious to see what actually happens in dampening, because Shamans are really good at having a lot of mana in dampening. And the strength of the Druid is that he gets to drink a lot, but I don't think the Paladin is going to be able to drink out because he doesn't have that stealth. The pets are just going to keep hitting him, whereas the Druid can obviously stealth and drop the aggro from the pets. So a player has to move there through the Frostmage snares and stop that drink.
This is a very peculiar series. Like I was expecting Gorecki on Druid, I was expecting Sea-Doo potentially on Paladin, but normally we've seen him on the Druid. Both of them are swapping over to alternate healers here. Method Orange, they need to find a way of bouncing back in this series. This is their advantage in terms of composition picks, supposedly. Let's see how they get it done.
Yeah. Very surprised to see them try it again, although that wasn't the best sample size of game number 1. You would have thought that if Gorecki's playing Shaman Windwalker DK, Method Orange would play at least some version of Windwalker DK, if not the Shaman version themselves, and try and take that advantage of Sea-Doo's experience with that healer and go head-to-head. So far, decent amount of damage on the Smexen early on. Actually, a bit surprising the amount of pressure from Method Orange.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. Chun-Li forced to run away. It was the touch of karma. Tried to use that a little bit aggressively there, but Sea-Doo didn't trade out the Blessing of Protection. I like that. I think Chun-Li was probably expecting it, and if we did see the Blessing of Protection trade out, then of course Chun-Li would have just used Diffuse Magic, Fortifying Brew, kited, survived. Of course he would anticipate a play like that against the Holy Paladin, so I think Sea-Doo being a little bit more patient with those cooldowns is going to be really important in this matchup. Sam I Am, of course, that was his Icy Veins. Trill does have the touch of karma. It's rolling. Chun-Li could be in some trouble. We got a Polymorph onto Gorecki. He gets out of the crowd control. Fortifying Brew active for Chun-Li right now as he uses Transcendence to escape and get behind the pillar. He's going to be just fine. Now continuing the assault onto Sam I Am. Specs and Chun-Li looking for uptime on Sam. If they can get it, it's going to be looking good. Mana's relatively even at this point in the game. And sparks are flying. I mean, Chun-Li's been taking heavy damage. Sam I Am getting bursted down at times as well. Sea-Doo has a little bit of recovery he has to do, but he's caught in a paralysis. This is a time for the boys to make a move.
All right, let's see if they can make a move. Touch of Death going to be Blessing of Protection and removed by Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo secures crowd control onto Gorecki. But do they have the continued chain? Paralysis, no stun. Chun-Li able to avoid the fight long enough for Gorecki to get a crowd control. Likely that we see the boys recover. The major thing that Gorecki needs to be worried about is Counterspell from Sam I Am. He's the only one who's going to be casting spells that are interruptible. Sam I Am is going to be almost always focusing Counterspell on Gorecki. If he does get Counterspell, that's just going to add some extra seconds to the crowd control chain. Likely enough that Method Orange could find a kill. Hammer of Justice there from Sea-Doo, nets them Touch of Karma from Chun-Li, as well as Lichborn from Smexen. 2 cooldowns for 1 crowd control, certainly a favorable exchange for Method Orange.
Yeah, looks like Sea-Doo will be able to keep Sam alive. Still hasn't had to use an Ice Block just yet. Chun-Li and Smexen continuing the assault. Ultimate Sacrifice rolls in from Sea-Doo. Okay, well, Sam I Am is going to be able to survive off that. I actually don't think it's the Ultimate Sacrifice, so Sea-Doo playing the small sacrifice, double Blessing of Protection in this matchup. Sam I Am will be able to survive. I don't mind that trade from Sea-Doo now that I know he's not playing Ultimate Sacrifice. A little bit of a preemptive play as he was lacking a little healing. Doesn't want to fall behind too quickly. Smexen getting low. Interrupt secured. Over onto Gorecki. Uses the Ascendance. And that should be enough to keep Smexen nice and healthy. Gorecki finally landing a few heals. Ride the Wind drops down from Chun-Li, allowing Smexen and himself uptime onto Sam I Am as he uses Shimmer to escape. Temporal Shield trades out. Smexen and Chun-Li still looking to get the damage rolling, but Sea-Doo with counter crowd control onto Gorecki lines the Blinding Light. Is there anything else? Sam I Am getting low, forced into the Ice Block. This is the offensive push from Method Orange, and look at how far on the back foot they are. All 3 members rotting down low. Smexen could be in a little trouble, but I feel like Gorecki's going to be able to keep him alive.
All right, can he do it? Gorecki's mana is very low. So is Sea-Doo's. Sam I Am with 1 more Ice Block remaining. Doesn't want to make the same mistake of not using the Cold Snap as he did in game number 1. Chun-Li's defense rotated back up and available as well. The boys looking solid here. Good push. Sea-Doo struggling. Sam I Am trying to blink away. Blessing of Protection could be purged off by Gorecki. Unlikely, though, due to the limitations of his mana. If the boys want to continue this aggressive purge strategy, they're going to need to try and set up Gorecki for a drink. Looks like instead switching targets to Trill. Trying to force cooldowns onto 2 members, but Avenging Crusader is still rolling for Sea-Doo, which is allowing him more than an easy recovery.
Yeah, and it looks like Sam I Am does manage to get the Cold Snap off. He's going to be able to survive. Gorecki's mana is just doing so bad in this situation. I mean, equally so for Sea-Doo. We're not even at dampening, and both these healers are out of mana. There's just been so much pressure for both teams rolling. It's been a struggle for both healers to keep up. Sea-Doo does have a lead, and I have to say, with the Vision of Perfection, if he can proc the Avenging Crusader, that's going to be a full health bar for Sam-I-Am. CD just has to hold on, and I feel like the Holy Paladin's so good in this situation. If they can last till Goreki's out of mana, it's going to be prime. Goreki going for a drink, Trill shuts that down, and unfortunately for the boys, they're still going to have a mana disadvantage, and Chun-Li's going to be in a lot of trouble here, Sid.
Chun-Li is going to be in a lot of trouble if they can continue the chain, but maybe not even needing the chain. Chun-Li is still just getting owned. Goreki's going to drop Spirit Link Totem. He has completely zero mana. Dampening has just kicked in. There's still one more Ice Block for Sam. This composition is looking a lot better in game number 2. Method Orange cleaning up their mistakes that they made in game 1. I'm wondering what counter picks the boys have, assuming they lose to game number 2 here, to deal with this Paladin Mage Windwalker.
We're going to have to wait and see. I feel like the Destruction Warlock wouldn't be too bad of an option for them in this particular matchup. I think he'd be able to bully the Paladin. There's not too much defense on the side of Method Orange, but we'll have to wait and see. First of all, Method Orange have to win this matchup. Goreki, once again, he's going to be looking to drink. Sea-Doo charging in, wants to keep him in combat, but Sea-Doo can't afford to fall too far behind. Goreki, once again, he's trying to recover mana. Is he going to be able to? Gets one tick of mana as Trill is forced to move in and actually shut down that drink. Now Sea-Doo in a prime position to land a Hammer of Justice. Full sheep on Goreki. He trinkets out. Chun-Li in a lot of trouble. Sam-I-Am and Trill trying to close out the game. They're making an offensive push. Chun-Li's just so low. Defensive maneuvers coming in. Ascendance pops out for Goreki with the Earthen Wall Totem. Chun-Li does manage to survive, but he doesn't have any defensive cooldowns for so long. Things are looking better and better for Method Orange.
All right, can they pull it off here? They've set themselves up for success. Chun-Li on the run, but Sea-Doo's right on top of him. Sam-I-Am is sniping him. Trill gets peeled away for a moment, but Goreki is still crowd controlled. Chun-Li has to keep himself going single-handedly. Popping that Fortifying Brew, reducing the damage during the stun, but that is a full polymorph, a fully channeled Ray of Frost, and I'm not sure if its defense will be enough. Chun-Li, Ring of Pieces, 2 members of Method Orange away, rolls back to Goreki's side. Goreki goes for the Healing Surge, no counterspell for 1 more second. Goreki needs to be careful. If he's interrupted, it could be the end of the game. So instead, the boys are going to retreat out of range of the counterspell, recover for a moment, and then look to push out.
Chun-Li holds on as he moves forward with the Ride the Wind. Leg sweep now secured on Sam-I-Am. We got the Temporal Shield. Sacrifice trades out from Sea-Doo, but they are just pushing through. Sam-I-Am's going to be in some trouble. Smexon trying to stay on target. Chun-Li getting... Oh, he's got the Karma! Can he get the Touch of Karma off?
Bob
Gets it off on Sea-Doo. Bubble comes in. Nice plays. And Method Orange exploiting the fact that Chun-Li's Touch of Karma, such a vulnerability in this matchup. Clean game from Method Orange, and you can kind of start to see why they decided to play this comp.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the composition makes a lot of sense, right? Mage Windwalker, we would probably say, even if it hasn't been a proven theory, that it should be Windwalker DK in most cleaves, to be honest. The Paladin counters the Touch of Karma, brings offense, and Method Orange, the first game was just not clean. It was not even close to clean. Second game, much better, and they do pull through with a victory.
Yeah, it was way better in second game, but Goreki was actually because he was holding down Purge essentially the entire game, so they had a lot of extra pressure because of that, but I feel like they were winning on mana if they didn't do that. So if Goreki was a little bit more conservative with his mana, I feel like the boys still could have easily taken this game, and this is also on a large map. I honestly expect to see the same matchup from both of these teams. I'm not sure how I feel about the Paladin still. I feel like I need more games before I can really decide. Honestly, there's so many close calls where Sam-I-Am can just die, like here. He did a good job, though, rotating his Shimmer between his Temporal Shield to give it more time to activate, and then here of course Chun-Li just drops way too low. Line of sights a Goreki there, and there's also a little bit of miscommunication there at the end. If Goreki just stays on his Transcendence, then he can just completely recover there, or if Chun-Li just doesn't use it and then allows Goreki to heal, he could potentially also recover there.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those series where we've seen a lot of odd stuff, right? Goreki playing on the Shaman, playing this kind of almost all-in aggression Shaman, whereas Sea-Doo is going for the Paladin, where we would traditionally expect the Druid in this matchup. It kind of like, it makes you think about the adaptations these teams have been forced to make, because it is super close, right? We're super close to the Summer Finals. Method Orange especially are not secure in their spot. We criticized them a lot last week on whether they'd had enough time to practice. Now they do seem to have at least theoretically come up with answers for the teams that are beating them, such as the boys.
Yeah, but now is the true question. What does Method Orange lock in blind? Where do the boys decide to take the next game? Because the boys, of course, they have Thugonomics in the back line. They can bring in the Destruction Warlock, and I think the Destruction Warlock is probably a pretty good answer in this particular matchup. So I think Method Orange, they're going to have to come up with something. If they lock in this composition blind, I think it's going to be really dangerous for them.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting situation here. Method Orange, they do have to come up with something here for the next game. The thing is, the boys are quite tricky, but they don't have a mage, right? So that's one of the things that's really hurt them. They can't lock in a rogue mage or a windwalker mage or something like that. So if you do play Samayam on the mage, at worst case, you're probably just going to go into a Destruction Warlock. Otherwise, you've got a cleave. It does seem reasonably safe for Method Orange.
I think Paladin Windwalker Death Knight's probably their safest blind pick.
You think so?
I feel like overall, especially on a small map, something like Hook Point, Method Orange are going to have to take that into consideration, because the boys, I think they're almost always going to be going for Windwalker Death Knight. I'm trying to think, maybe it's not going to be a Shadow Priest comp if there's a Paladin. Smexen and Shadow Priest is off the table. They could run Windwalker Destro, but this map isn't really that great for that either. I'm not even sure if it would do too well into the Paladin Windwalker Mage. I'd be a bit surprised to see Method Orange lock Windwalker Mage on such a small map. My anticipation is that they're going to play Windwalker Death Knight Paladin.
Windwalker Death Knight Paladin, that's a composition we think should win the mirror. Would it win the mirror against Shaman as well, you guys think? We don't know. We're just guessing.
Wow.
I'm very curious to see. I mean, it just seems so weird. They are going to go with the mage, and this might open up a Destruction Warlock pick from the boys potentially.
I don't think we're going to see it. I think the boys are probably going to lock in the same thing.
Really?
I really feel like the small map is going to benefit them a lot. So I think we're still going to see Windwalker DK. I feel like on Thug, there's still like a pretty nice win condition for Method Orange, where if they can drag out the game for long enough, they're just going to be able to kill him. Basically, even if the mage doesn't even connect, like if they can just get a Frozen Orb in a stun, they're going to be able to take him down easily, and a lot of his damage is easily avoided too. So I think Method Orange, they have a pretty decent blind pick here. We're going to see how the boys can respond. I don't think Windwalker lock is the answer.
It's such a tough situation for the boys, I feel like, because if they lock any cleave into this, I would at least put Method Orange as advantaged in the matchup. Wouldn't you agree? Or do you think the small map is actually enough that it swings that advantage?
I'm not. Normally, I would agree, but the Shaman, I don't know how. I don't know how.
This isn't very European.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we don't see. This is literally the first time we see Windwalker DK with a Shaman, and usually, every time we see Shaman, it's stay back, play defensive. Make sure that you out-mana the druid that you're facing.
It's NA, baby.
But now we're in Smorkland. We're in Zugland in NA. So it feels like Gorecki is just... Like, I was... in the previous game, I was just looking at Gorecki's character, and his global was like, Flame Shock, Purge. You know, like the Orc male animation where he's like... Purge. And then like he goes behind the pillar. I was like, okay, he's gonna heal. Nope, summons his Earth Elemental and then just purge. So I'm not sure, but we are gonna see the Windwalker and the Warlock, which begs the question: why would they pick Hook Point? I feel like Hook Point isn't the greatest map either because I mean the mage is really tricky to kill in general. Trill.
I actually kind of like Hook Point.
You like Hook Point for Windwalker Lock?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like Thugonomics is going to be in a spot where he can land fears on CD quite easily.
I actually feel like the Destruction Warlock's quite nice into the Paladin too. Like when I play my Paladin, it's so annoying to deal with fears. With a Druid, you know, you've got full hots and everything, so a fear, it's only 6 seconds of crowd control. Normally your guy's going to be okay, but with a Paladin, you're kind of naked to that sort of crowd control. If Thugonomics can land these crowd controls, that's why I was kind of wondering if this was the pick, but I agree with you that at the same time, the Destruction Warlock is a sitting duck. If Method Orange can survive, if Sea-Doo can do a good job, then they should probably win this.
Well, you play Druid yourself. What happens when a mage is just klepping on CD? You lose a lot of mana, right? And you can't drink on Hook Point. So I feel like the boys are on a timer to actually kill somebody on Method Orange. If Method Orange can hold on, they're just going to win on mana 100% because the Pal is going to out-mana the Warlock. Unless Sea-Doo is using Avenging Crusader on cooldown, just being super inefficient, but I think Method Orange have the late game advantage, so to speak.
Potentially, yeah. We'll have to see. I mean, Sea-Doo's mana in the last game wasn't super brilliant. I'm not sure. Like, how Destruction Warlock's going to fare. Well, I mean, honestly, this is the cool thing about this matchup. This is NA, baby, as you correctly pointed out. We honestly have no idea who wins this. The Holy Paladin, Windwalker Mage, not a competition.
This isn't Rogue Mage Druid.
Yeah, this isn't Rogue Mage Druid. What are we casting right now? We have to see. I mean, at the end of the day, this series is tied 1-1. It's a best of 5. One of these teams will make it to top 3. If Method Orange makes it to top 3, they'll have a 60-point advantage on the move, meaning that the move will need to place 4 places better than Method Orange in the final cup to overtake them. It would be absolutely huge for Sea-Doo and his team. I think it would basically guarantee them qualification, but the boys can still put a stop to that. This is their counter pick.
We'll see what they can get done. We got 3 seconds until the gates open up. I feel like Thugonomics is going to be able to put out a lot of pressure on this map, maintain and get a lot of fears, but like Zico kind of mentioned, if Sam I Am is just throwing out the Kleptomania on cooldown, he's removing all those heal over time effects, then the boys are actually susceptible to just going out of mana and losing that way, which means the boys are on a time limit. They have to play aggressive in this matchup if they want to win.
All right, let's see if the boys can close it out here. Sea-Doo's moving in first, looking for a Hammer of Justice, going to be nailing Gorecki. But Sam I Am's falling behind us. Sea-Doo overextended for that crowd control. He's relying on the Temporal Shield. Meanwhile, Thugonomics is just taking a beating. Unending Resolve already used. Gorecki has to panic, trinket, activate Iron Bark. Thugonomics is maybe just dead. This is an insane amount of damage for Method Orange in game 3.
What?
Potentially a throwaway from the boys.
Wow.
Thugonomics barely holds on.
I actually can't believe he's alive, and I also can't believe he even got that low. What was that?
I can't believe it's not butter.
All right. Thugonomics gets interrupted. Looking for a Chaos Bolt. Big damage coming in. Looking for 1 on Sam I Am. Looking for 2. Manages to find it, but Sam I Am just going to be completely fine. Avenging Crusader for Paladins is super strong, and I feel like Sea-Doo realized that, and that's why he's been investing so much time into the Holy Paladin. It just seems like the Holy Paladin healing really strong right now, especially with that Vision of Perfection, and he's been able to hold on. He can also help his team with that extra little bit of damage, and maybe that's why Thugonomics fell behind so quickly at the beginning of the game.
All right, let's see if they can capitalize on all of that momentum. Was all of their cooldowns though, so their damage, their burst damage has definitely subsided. This should be an opportunity for the boys to battle back if they can get crowd control on Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo playing at the pillar though, line of sighting Thugonomics, as well as Gorecki, although Gorecki I believe is wrapping around. Sea-Doo actually gets caught in fear, perhaps a bit of a mistake here for Method Orange. How much are they going to get out of this? Touch of Death going to be popped by Chun-Li. Big push on Sam. Sea-Doo's going to fully respect it, use Blessing of Protection, and then get aggressive. Stunning Gorecki. Thugonomics isolated. Polymorph secured. It could be the end of Thugonomics. Chun-Li interrupted on his support. Huge burst to follow through, but they need more crowd control. Sea-Doo's got it. Blinding Light lands. Drain Life, the only thing keeping Thugonomics going. Surprisingly quite long. One more Polymorph. Thugonomics gates away, but Thugonomics bought just enough time for Iron Bark. Is that going to be enough? Thugonomics gets Ring of Peace out of his own Ring of Peace. Gorecki gets counterspelled. How is he even still alive at this point? His crowd control chain has been upwards of 25 seconds, and he's actually still alive.
Thugonomics holds on, and he's going to be able to hold on a little bit longer. Maybe. I mean, Gorecki, this push, this damage from Method Orange is absolutely insane. I cannot believe Thugonomics is still alive, but somehow, some way, Gorecki does manage to do it. Thugonomics managing to kite away and survive. Infernals drop down. They're looking for a Chaos Bolt. Big leg sweep coming in from Chun-Li. Samai might be forced into his ice block. Avenging Crusader proc sacrifice comes in as well. Sea-Doo's going to be able to hold on, and actually, you can see right now, Method Orange, they're a little bit behind on mana. If Gorecki can just maintain this somehow, I mean, Samai just threw in a Kleptomania spell steal, so he's going to have to play catch-up, and that's going to even out the mana, but still, Method Orange, they've had so much pressure in this game. It really feels like it's their game to lose.
Danger time for Trill here, caught in a stun. Touch of Karma trading out, but overlap with the Blessing of Protection. Significant error on the side of Method Orange. Mana is still even, so certainly the boys could stay in this if they can keep Thugonomics alive and keep them going. We're still about 1 minute and 15 away from dampening, and at that point, is it still favorable for Method Orange? I think it's likely. Reducing the Soul Leech, healing of the Warlock is going to be important. Ice Barrier absorbing some damage for Sam I Am as he is back behind the corner. Sea-Doo in a position to pick him up, but he needs to avoid fear. He can't afford to be caught in that without any initial crowd control. Paralysis, huge hit from Thugonomics. Sam I Am activating Temporal Shield. Big heal from that. Good timing on his part. Now Method Orange counterattack. Full stun lock on the entire team. Thugonomic's going to break out and try and disrupt. How much disruption can he provide? The crowd control chain is continuing, but now finally over. The disruption looks like it's going to be more than enough. Sea-Doo feared away. Sam-I-Am getting bursted. Ice Barrier going to absorb some hits. Sea-Doo connects a big heal with Divine Favor. Grecki jumping into the fight, stunning Sam, but Avenging Crusader active for Sea-Doo. Unlikely that we see too much pressure on his team, as this cooldown is very powerful at increasing his healing, unless he is crowd controlled, but it looks like the boys don't have any at this moment in time.
Kleptomania Spell Steal once again paying dividends here for Method Orange. Grecki's falling behind on mana, and I don't know if he's going to really be able to drink. Dampening is just kicking in 3, 2, 1. Dampening initiated, and it's going to be more difficult for Thugonomics to actually stay alive in this match. At the same time, Sea-Doo might struggle to keep Sam alive, but I just feel like as this game progresses, the Holy Paladin is going to start getting more and more of an advantage against the Restoration Druid. Thugonomics kind of a sitting duck. Chun-Li, Thugonomics, they got to start getting some pressure rolling. Trill manages to shut down the Chaos Bolt. Nicely done. Sam, I am not overreacting. He's just going to be using that Gladiator Safeguard in order to survive that attempt. Sea-Doo has to play catch-up. Gorecki trades out the Iron Bark to stay ahead, and he's looking for a drink. This is a very important moment in the match. If Gorecki can sneak away and drink, it's going to be great, but Trill shuts him down. Method Orange has been doing a really good job with Drink Denial in this game.
Despite their early offense and massive cooldowns forced, Method Orange are starting to fall apart a bit here. Now down 1 Ice Block. Mana is still even. Fortunately, though, like you said, their Drink Denial has been on point, so Gorecki hasn't been able to build any sort of advantage in that regard for the late game. Thugonomics still the primary target. He's got Infernals available, and he's got crowd control on Sea-Doo. This may be the opportunity for Thugonomics. Sam-I-Am retreating back behind the wall, though, out of line of sight. Thugonomics waddling his Warlock over there to try and get in line of sight to dish out some damage. Sam-I-Am blinking through him to deny the Chaos Bolt. Sea-Doo using Ultimate Sacrifice a bit preemptively. Now it looks like he's trying to get aggressive with its defense active, but it was before the Infernals. Still a big opportunity for Thugonomics. Touch of Death available. Sea-Doo is crowd controlled. Gorecki crowd controlled as well. Who's going to be in trouble first? Iron Park fades on Thugonomics. Frozen Orb is down. Sam-I-Am could be devastating here. Thugonomics trying to take control of the fight with the Mortal Coils again installed, calling in the Infernals to try and scare Method Orange away. Although with Avenging Crusader up, I would not like to see them retreat. I think this cooldown is more than enough for them to keep pursuing. Although if Sea-Doo does get crowd controlled, likely it is wise to retreat away. Sam-I-Am going to be line of sight, and Trill abandoning the push as well, although catching 1 Chaos Bolt. Quite a lot of damage. Divine Favor available for Sea-Doo. Surprising to not see him commit it just yet to avoid the spell lock and recover. Going to be using the Avenging Crusader instead. Big Judgment heal. Potential pressure on Thugonomics as Gorecki's mana is getting zeroed out.
Yeah, and look, Gorecki with no mana is really going to struggle to keep Thugonomics alive. Sam-I-Am has the Icy Veins. Troll has a Touch of Death. Method Orange right now, they have all the tools they need. There's a fear over on the Sea-Doo, but Sea-Doo's mana is not doing that great either. Sam-I-Am has managed to hold on to at least 1 Ice Block at this point of the game. We're at 16% dampening. What's going to happen? Chun-Li needs to start getting some pressure rolling for his team. He moves forward. He's trying to get damage rolling on Sam-I-Am. Equally so, Trill's trying to get damage rolling. Gorecki trying to get out of combat. Trill shuts him down. Gorecki right now in stealth and a paralysis. Sea-Doo finds the Hammer of Justice. Here it is. Icy Veins trades out. Gorecki is not messing around. He does not want to fall far behind. Throws out the Iron Bark, trades out his Trinket to keep Thugonomics nice and healthy. Keep in mind, Thugonomics, he still has the Unending Resolve. There's a Fear on Sea-Doo. Shadow Fury, Chaos Bolt on Sam. Sam's in some trouble. What is he going to be able to do? He's running away from Chun-Li. He's out of line of sight of Thugonomics, but he has to be careful. He's far away from Sea-Doo at this point of the game. Sea-Doo might actually be able to start landing some heals. He tried to escape for a drink, but unfortunately the Fell Hunter is going to shut that down, is going to deny it, and I mean, it looks like Gorecki's been able to hold on with basically fumes on mana at this point. I think Sea-Doo's going to be able to do the same. I'm not actually sure if mana is going to be the deciding factor of this game.
It could just be a huge swing amount of burst damage, certainly at 22% dampening. Sea-Doo's Avenging Crusader active. This could be threatening for Thugonomics. What kind of cooldowns are they going to exchange? Gorecki jumps into the fight, stuns Sea-Doo. Thugonomics Mortal Coil Sam and Trill to try and stall, but now Gorecki is stunned and Thugonomics is in trouble. That Soul Leech is not going to be nearly effective at 25% dampening. All 3 members of Method Orange just throwing everything they've got at Thugonomics. Iron Bark activates, but may not be enough. Inferno's called in for Thugonomics. He's going to pop the Unending Resolve. He's going to go for the YOLO bolts and try and get a kill here. He's desperate. Samayam's going to fully respect this. He knows that Thugonomics is desperate. If he doesn't tank any of this damage, it's likely they can push him over in the near future.
Yeah, Thugonomics lands Fear on Trill. Trill trades out his Karma. Now there's 2 vulnerable targets. Sam's got no Ice Block for 2 minutes. Trill's got no touch of Karma. Chun-Li might actually make a swap, but he's just going all in. He's got the touch of death to roll in. Samayam, how are you going to survive? He gets exploded. Good night, Sam. The boys up 2-1 in the series, and that was a really close game. Honestly, I feel like Thugonomics got a little lucky to survive some of those moments, but at the end of the day, the boys hold on. They're going to win that game, and that was really close between those 2 lineups.
Close? Was that close? I mean, I think Thugonomics was fine that entire game, to be honest. He was chilling the entire time. Grecky had that under control the entire time, right, Zico?
Oh yeah, especially when he didn't have Bark, no mana, didn't have anything to work with.
And 30 seconds.
Honestly, Samayam, I feel like he could have respected this push a little bit more. Like, the positioning here, I just don't like it. Like, why is he in the middle of the map? He doesn't need to be here for any reason. He's not going to go in for CC, so there's no reason to be that close to Thug, and he's a ranged damage dealer. There, he gets the blink, he tanks 1 Chaos Bolt, and he had Temporal. Actually, I think his Temporal timed out there, but I would have rather seen him maybe tank that Bolt and then block low. However, he respected the damage, and of course, that means that Chun-Li gets to do a big setup here with the Fortifying Brew, with the images, and the Touch of Death, of course, boosting all of that damage, and as soon as that goes off, it just boom.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, that was good. That was the sound effect.
That was Sid.
That was someone
Don't blame me.
I mean, outside of the fact that they almost lost that one on mana, and that was the first 20 seconds or so of that game where Thugonomics was, he was.
Maybe Gorecki was just waking up playing Resto Druid. He's like, yeah, I've been playing Shaman.
Right now.
Yeah.
That's one of the other points as well, is that Gorecki's been playing the Shaman and the Druid here. Now, Sidu, is there any time where he swaps off the Paladin? Because I actually think the Paladin's been looking pretty good, but I mean, now it's going to be a match swap from the boys, and I mean, would we like to see, let's say the boys do lock in the Shaman, Windwalker, DK, or something like that as their blind pick. Is there a world where Sidu actually goes over to the Shaman as kind of like a counter? Like, he was talking a little bit about his Shaman, like it's been a big talking point for him in his stream. Where does he invest his time? He's been investing time on the Paladin, he's been investing time on the Druid, but with the Shaman, it's like, it's something that he's let fall off a little bit. And is it a situation where now other healers are starting to play that and he needs to kind of catch up with them?
I wanted to play with Sidu Shaman, he told me he's not playing.
That was actually with us, right?
Yeah,
it was going to be Windwalker, Shadowfreeze,
I wanted
Shaman.
to play Windwalker, Shadowfreeze. I also wanted to play with Vanguards in him, and I asked him to play Shaman. He said, nope, not doing it. So
Do you think that's because he didn't want to play Shaman, though? Or because he didn't want to play with you in healing stat?
Why would he not want to play with us?
Well, he did end up playing with you on the Druid or something.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, he's still,
Maybe you should
Still
stop
playing.
posting
we've been
him in
friends
the
for a
games.
long time. I don't think he's not going to play. Whatever, man. I don't like
I just
this.
want to fire some shots.
No,
Sorry.
it's fine.
But,
you play with me every day.
Is that going to change now as well?
I think it might. But
Wow.
the thing is, I feel like
Fine, Sid, we'll snipe them.
I feel like it's one of those things
We need
where
I don't know if we're going to win, but I'll try.
Let the man speak.
Yeah, I'm trying to speak here. Okay?
Come on.
Jeez. I think it's one of those things with Sidu where
What do you
he
think,
can
Zeke?
play all these healers. He can play a priest, he can play a paladin, he can play a druid, he can play a mistweaver, he can play a shaman, he can play all the healers. But he doesn't like to play them unless he has a lot of reps.
Yeah.
Like he likes to have at least a few days of dedicated practice to that healer before he's going to feel comfortable. Normally he plays one healer, sometimes two when he really needs to, but it's unlikely and it's kind of rare for him to just hop on healers. I feel like Sidu really is one of those players that wants to get comfortable with the role that he's in, wants to warm up, sort of feel the class that he's playing. And if he can do that, he looks really, really strong on them. But I feel like he's kind of reluctant to just hop on a class and start playing it, especially in a game like this or a series like this where there's just so much on the line.
I mean, that's
it's
one
a
thing
shaman.
we can't underestimate. But yeah, I was going to say, like, I mean, yes, all the players are contending with this challenge, right, where you have to farm out, you know, your Azerite, your Essences on the live servers, and then they want to be practicing on the tournament server because the meta is a little bit different over here. So it's a difficult situation for Sidu. He sees the Paladin's really good, so he's like, okay, I'm going to invest all my time in the Paladin. Then other healers start playing Shamans, and then the Druid's still in the meta, so it's like, you've got to really min-max your time, and I think that's kind of the pain point here for Method Orange, but we are going to see the Windwalker Death Knight Knight coming in as the blind pick for the boys. They have the edge here in the series, but it's that Druid pick coming in here. Sid, what do we think about this compared to the Shaman?
Spellsteal is going to be a lot more threatening. It's probably safer overall than the Shaman. They're going to lose a bit of offense, so maybe they're just trying it out. Obviously, the Paladin Mage Windwalker isn't something that we see a lot of, so they might not have a sample size. A Druid could just be massively better and they don't know, so giving it a try before they go to Game 5 where they can pick the map, they know what comp is coming at them. This is a good opportunity for them to field test it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way of looking at it. And I mean, the boys, like, I actually feel like the Druid could be better than the Shaman as well. Like, the thing we talked about when Grecki was playing the blue class was that he kind of overextended his mana.
Blue class?
The blue class.
Kind of a
Shaman.
major.
I mean, it's obvious. Like, it's Grecki I'm talking about here. Like, we said he was overextending with the Shaman, and I mean, on the Druid, you can't really do that because, I mean, you're just going to heal, right?
He was being a little bit too aggressive. I think on the Shaman, in a long game, I can definitely see the boys going down to Method Orange in a long game. However, with the Druid, I see the likelihood of them actually being to drag it out and still be in the, in the game. Just much more likely. So I like the Druid pick on the large map a lot more. Shaman, maybe on a smaller map, could work out. Honestly, I think Method Orange are doing the right play here, locking in this comp over and over, because it feels like this comp just beats pretty much everything that the boys have if they play it well.
Yep, well, we'll have to see. Obviously, Method Orange facing match point here. If they lose, they will be knocked down to the lower bracket. They'll actually play against the team that knocked out the move, Get Your Boy Dog, for a chance at top 4 tomorrow. But obviously, they'd much rather just win this one. If they can turn this around, they'll get a top 3 finish, which would be the ideal scenario for Sidu and his team. Yeah,
Asphyxiate stun onto Sidu. We'll have to see for the boys, how is the Restoration Druid going to work out for them? Because the thing is, now without the Shaman, without Purge, Samayam's going to be able to just walk away with freedom. Blessing on Freedom is really good. Frost Mages are already so slippery with Cone of Cold, with Roots, Novas. It's really difficult to actually chase them down. So I feel like the fact that he's just going to be able to hold on to those Blessing of Freedoms in this match is going to be really strong for Method Orange. But we'll have to see, maybe with the Druid, the boys will be a little bit more durable. Grecki is probably going to opt to play a little bit more defensive in this matchup. Sidu's going to be looking to set up his team with crowd control. Once he pushes in, he can land the Hammer of Justice. He has the Blinding Light. There's a lot of tools Method Orange have at their disposal. They can honestly just go for crowd control chains such as Paralysis into a Hammer of Justice. That's enough time with Kleptomania where they can really start developing some pressure, especially as we make it deeper into dampening if we get to that point.
They lose a lot of offense, bringing in the Druid over the Shaman, but they also remove a large amount of room for error. As the Restoration Shaman, if they overextend their mana to Purge, then they run out too quickly. If they get caught and interrupted, the game can just instantly end. So the Druid is a lot safer overall, and it makes sense that the boys would want to experiment because Method Orange are playing a new composition. They want to make sure that the Druid isn't the best healer for the matchup, and if it is, then should they meet later on in the tournament, because the boys will then face Cloud9, and let's face it, Thugbear wasn't enough for them to win last week. Thugbear's probably not enough for them to still win this week, so it's likely that we would see potentially a rematch between these teams. So it is important for the boys to measure what is their best composition overall into Method Orange. Sidu currently stunned up. Samayam the target. Not enough damage, unfortunately, to force anything of significance. Just the Avenging Crusader, which now the boys need to respect, likely. Okay, sort of not even having to make a trade. Sidu not getting too much damage off the back of it. Samayam trying to utilize that Blizzard, hitting a lot of those ghouls from Smexen, resetting that Frozen Orb quite rapidly. Samayam's looking to just maximize his damage, maximize his spell steals, pressing them on cooldown to run Grecki out of mana. And this could be an effective strategy.
I mean, definitely could be. We've seen it play out in the past for compositions like Rogue Mage. I would expect it to play out similarly for Windwalker Mage. Chun-Li in some trouble. Full polymorph snuck in there by Samayam. Very nicely done. Chun-Li on the run. He used Diffuse Magic, but he has the Karma. But keep in mind, Sidu on the Holy Paladin can remove that touch of Karma. We'll have to see if he's going to do it. Doesn't look like it just yet. Chun-Li trades the touch of Karma onto Trill. Trill actually getting bursted down at this moment. Chun-Li and Smexen putting out really big cleave damage, and Sidu, without his Avenging Crusader, is going to be difficult for him to actually top off his team. We'll see what happens. If we look at mana, Sidu, Grecki actually relatively even at this point in the match, and that could definitely be a deciding factor moving forward.
All right, Gorecki, mana's not looking, well, actually it's looking okay. It's not in the worst condition. I was actually anticipating it to be a bit worse than it is now. Chun-Li, though, could be vulnerable if he's not careful with no Touch of Karma and no Diffuse Magic for 40-some-odd seconds, although now it's Sam I Am in trouble. Sidu in crowd control. Sidu going to respect this push, trade the Blessing of Sacrifice, and it's now Chun-Li getting it reversed onto him. He's going to abandon the push, Transcendence away. Gorecki pulling out as well, trying to max his distance from Sidu. Chun-Li controlling Sidu for a moment. Sidu wants to likely go for a Hammer of Justice, so Chun-Li is trying to protect Gorecki. Now Gorecki sneaks in, bashes Sidu. Chun-Li's going to go after Sidu, forcing him away. Sam and Sidu both very low on health. Temporal Shield about to go off. Risky gamble here on match point, but Sam I Am gets away with it.
Yep, greed pays off for Sam I Am. Sometimes greed is good. Sidu now with the Avenging Crusader will top off his team. I'm not sure if it was a Visitor of Perfection proc or he actually was running the ability, or he used the ability. It was the actual Avenging Crusader, so now it won't have that available. Chun-Li going to be riding that wind with Smexin to stay on target. Paralysis on Sidu. Decent crowd control here for the boys as they look to make a push, but Sam I Am's going to be completely fine. Vision of Perfection pops for Sidu. And this is the power of this ability. You can see if Sidu can actually get off damage, unfortunately wasn't able to find any. Divine Favor comes in, tops off Sam I Am. Method Orange looking healthy, looking good. Sidu finds crowd control onto Gorecki. Chun-Li's got to be a little bit careful. He uses the Diffuse Magic. He's on the run. He's trying to escape, but Trill is all over him at this point of the game. Fortifying Brew does trade out for Chun-Li. He used it defensive, so he can't combo that with the Touch of Death for the additional damage at this point. Good pressure here for Method Orange, but Gorecki's been able to maintain his mana at this point in the game, and as we move forward into dampening, I still can't help but feel like Method Orange will start developing more and more of a lead.
And it's still even. Pressure's on. Method Orange are on match point. They have a good opportunity to secure their top 4 in points with Resurgent in the move already out of the competition. So certainly they don't want to be losing to the boys in the upper round. They'd like to get as far as they can for as best of a guaranteed finish as they can. I'm wondering what compositions they've prepared to try and take down Cloud9. I'm actually wondering what composition anyone in North America has planned to take down Cloud9, because their Rogue Mage Druid has just been wreaking havoc. No one has been able to stand against them, either in mirror or with a counter pick. Gorecki and Hammer of Justice, but Sam who's in trouble. Sidu in a stun. Sam likely having to block here. Smexin gripping Sam I Am in. Gladiator Safeguard. A massive, gigantic absorb is going to allow Sam I Am to survive that assault. Chun-Li now on the back foot. Trill trying to push him over. Chun-Li with the Fist of Fury, parrying all of Trill's attacks, trying to deny the Storm, Earth, and Fire there of Trill. Managing to do so now. Gorecki and Chun-Li retreating away from Sidu. Sidu still marching forward, but now crowd controlled. Smexin still trying to chop up Sam I Am, but polyed. Gorecki way out of range and out of line of sight. Smexin's going to have to sit that crowd control, unfortunately. Now Cone of Cold. See Sam I Am taking a beating here. Fist of Fury doing a lot of damage. Sidu going to respect it a bit prematurely, at least denying the Touch of Death damage on Sam. Now Sidu with that grace period is trying to charge forward and crowd control Gorecki. What is Chun-Li going to do? He needs to avoid Trill during this time. He has managed to. Trill just trying to play tag and catch Chun-Li, but connects to him once the crowd control is over, so Gorecki should stabilize, although he has basically 0 mana left. I'm trying to look at the options here. If I'm the boys, I mean, you may have to just go after Sidu. You still have 2 more ice blocks to get through with an out-of-mana Resto Druid. It's not looking good.
I mean, it certainly isn't. At this point, Method Orange, they've developed a huge lead. Icy Veins available for Sam I Am. Trill has the Touch of Death. There's a lot of damage potential, and I mean, at 15% dampening, this is the moment of the game where you can actually start just going after Smexin if you really want to. The Death Knight starts becoming more and more vulnerable as dampening gets higher. We'll have to see, but Method Orange falling a little bit behind right now. The boys are stable, and they're actually getting a lot of pressure rolling. Sidu's going to have to hold on for another 7 seconds. Is he going to be able to do it? Avenging Crusader rolling up soon. Sam I Am with his Icy Veins, not able to get anything done whatsoever. Unfortunately, now Sam can just fall. Cold Snap, Ice Block, Overlap, Blessing of Protection, Avenging Crusader, Method Orange, they trade out everything. Somehow Gorecki's managed to get some mana back, and things aren't looking too bad for the boys.
That was a Cold Snap block. Sam's got nothing. Sidu's crowd, he has to divine, he has no mana. Both sides have no mana, but the boys have more defense at this point in time. I thought Method Orange were easily going to be taking this.
This is match
They're
point.
desperate now. They're going after Smexin. They need to kill him with this Touch of Death. How is the boys going to deal with it? They trade Lichborn. It needs to be enough. They're going to Ironbark as well. It may not be. They get Gladiator Safeguard. Now suddenly Smexon has nothing. Both teams have nothing. They're just going to be running at each other. Zug, NA style to the finish. It's match point, though, for Method Orange. If they falter, they will be going down to the lower bracket. Gorecki and a polymorph. Smexon still the target and dampening, but is dampening deep enough? Touch of death for Chun-Li. This could be devastating.
Ooh, Smexon's getting low, but Sam, he's in so much trouble. Sacrifice trades out by Sidu. He's trying to keep Sam alive. He's trying desperately. Sam just spamming out the polymorphs, but he gets interrupted. Safeguard procs. That really is the last line of defense. Sam trying to hightail it out of there, but Gorecki finds the bash. Ring of Peace looking to deny Chun-Li, just a little bit nicely done by Trill, backing up his teammate. Smexon could start getting in trouble if Sam can somehow stabilize, but Sidu's really struggling. Smexon all over him. Chun-Li lands, temporal shields there. Sam, can you hold on? He's trying to kite away. The boys just seconds away from potentially closing out the game. If they can take down Sidu, they can send them to the lower bracket. Might be able to do it. Sam holds on. Ice Barrier trades out Sidu, though. Look at him. He is just completely tapped. He has no mana. Touch of, or Blessing of Protection comes in. Sam is actually going to be able to survive a little bit longer.
Sidu gets swapped too. He's got no mana. He needs a Vision of Perfection proc right now. If he doesn't get one right now, I don't know if he can keep this going. His entire team is just dead. The boys have all of the momentum. Sidu stunned up. Sam is likely to fall in the bash. Divine Favor. One little heal from Sidu at 30% dampening. Sam teetering on the edge right now. Sidu in crowd control. Chun-Li with 100% uptime. Sam pops a temporal. Sidu's trying to buy him. It's a Vision of Perfection proc. Sidu gets the big heals with the Avenging Crusader, and it might add enough damage that they can actually kill Smexon. Ironbark needs to be enough. Vision Perfection's going to be fading shortly for Sidu. He can't stabilize Sam. Chun-Li is still just owning him. How is Sidu going to keep this going? Avenging Crusader still active.
They're going to kill him. They're going to kill him. Smexon's getting so low. No way! Method Orange did a miracle. A complete miracle. They turned it around. Take down Smexon. Unbelievable, and this is why, this has to be why Sidu is focused on the Holy Paladin right now. This really showcases how powerful they are with that Vision of Perfection. You get that at the right moment, you can survive. I really, that's incredible.
I can't believe it. I think at the end he did get one Avenging Crusader. He was like kind of bulking his mana for the 10,000 you need for that. But at the same time, I was watching Sidu's character the entire game. There was one point in the game where he got Vision of Perfection, then his Judgment came off cooldown, he got another Vision of Perfection, and then a third in a row. So this is the thing with the Paladin. It's like you are very reliant on your RNG kind of to some extent, because if you don't get a proc, then Sam drops to 10%, but if you do, you top him for no mana. Ultimately, such a close game, really could have gone either way. At the end of that one, the Avenging Crusader or the Vision of Perfection is so hard to tell. I'm pretty sure it was the AC that came in at the very end. They're able to tie up the series 2-2, but oh boy, we're going to a good game 5.
Yeah, honestly, that was all Sam being able to survive for that long. I mean, here, Sidu as well has barely enough mana for the Blessing of Protection. And I'm curious, how is he actually gaining that final bit of mana? I'm not sure how Sidu actually gets
He might have the minor trade.
Yeah, I think he got a mana regen proc, because like there's no way he should have 10,000 mana. Yeah, it just
doesn't look. Oh, it was.
Yeah, it definitely was.
It was just enough.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, no, he used it for sure.
It's just one of those things where I feel like Sidu, this is the thing, with the Divine Favor, not only does it make the heal powerful, it also makes the heal free. So every 25 seconds you get a free heal. Holy Shock is basically a non-factor when it comes to mana cost, things like 2k mana. So as long as he can, if Sam can play like that,
right there.
Yeah. As long as Sam can play like that, then they can just about sustain. But then equally, that kind of begs the question, should they just be doing that from the start, right? Rather than going for this playmaking, stop using Avenging Crusader before dampening, stop wasting your mana, play for that late game condition on the Death Knight. Either way, Method Orange are able to tie up the series. The Move are going to be watching this one closely. Method Orange are going to be watching this closely, or playing this one out to their heart's content. They really need it. We're going to go to Game 5 and find out who goes through the championship Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Game 5 between the boys and Method Orange. Method Orange are on track for qualification for the Summer Finals. If they win this game on Tolvaron Arena, it would be absolutely incredible. And this is the matchup we expected from Game 1. It's the Holy Paladin Windwalker Death Knight going up against the Resto Druid Windwalker Death Knight. Seedu tweeted out that he thinks the Holy Paladin has the advantage in the matchup. Now they put their they put their Summer Finals potentially on the line with a victory here. If they can win with the Holy Paladin, they're guaranteed top 3. They'll get 60-point advantage over the move, and they will almost certainly qualify through to the Summer Finals.
They will almost certainly qualify through to the Summer Finals. Method Orange are going to mirror in game number 5, Tolvaron Arena. Not the battlefield I would have expected for 2 North American melee cleaves. Quite an open battlefield. It is certainly going to be favoring the Restoration Druid. Gorecki looking to try and build space. Method Orange looking to close that gap and limits Gorecki's escape. Can Gorecki stay alive through the onslaught?
Oh, this is going to be trouble time for Gorecki. Barkskin, Ironbark, trade out, touch of death. Gorecki, he's in so much trouble, he uses the renewal. Safeguard blocks. Gorecki could just die in the opener. Method Orange all in. Gorecki, what are you going to do? He's trying to run, he's trying to hide, he still has his trinket, he's dashing across the map. Trill can't believe that he's not dead yet. And Gorecki manages to maybe survive.
I don't know.
But if he's in a full stun, he does trinket out. He uses everything, but Gorecki, with beautiful defensive plays, beautiful peels from Chun-Li and Smexen, manages to escape a situation where I think most Druids probably would have died.
Gorecki needs to get out of range of Death Grip before Barkskin is available. He needs at least 10 more seconds. Let Chun-Li and Smexen take some of the hits and then wait for Barkskin before even getting close to the shredder. That is Method Orange, the blender. Let's see if the Death Grip is going to happen, if Mez keeps going for that line, or if he's going to switch targets. Trill used the Touch of Karma aggressively, so that cooldown is out of the way. Smexen taking an extraordinary amount of damage, but surprising to see that much pressure onto the Death Knight. It is going to be his Gladiator Safeguard and any Magic Shield, I think, at the same time. Gorecki gripped in, but he saw it coming. So he is in bear form, making him a lot more durable. And with Barkskin during the stun in bear form, he is not going to take nearly as much damage. He's looking to escape as soon as the Fist of Fury is over. He's waiting for it, but the longer he waits, the more damage he takes. He has to use the Ironbark as well. He gets Ring of Beast on his retreat path by Trill. Gorecki in a lot of trouble. Once again, very low on health. Frenzied Regeneration and a quick swip. Gorecki manages to stay alive.
Yeah, he does manage to live. Ring of Peace comes in from Chun-Li. That's going to allow, it's going to make it really difficult for Mez to stay on target. Trill and Seedu, they can't just leave Mez behind for too long. Hammer of Justice over onto Gorecki. Seedu actually traded out his Divine Shield in that situation. I'm not exactly sure why. I really am not sure. I think he was trying to get out of his stun maybe to assist Trill on damage. They are really going all in on Gorecki. Gorecki could fall, but it's just so difficult at this point for Trill and Mez to stay on target. They actually switch over to Smexen. They're taking him down, forcing Gorecki's hand, forcing him to get in line of sight. And it seems like Method Orange, they're a lot more comfortable with this composition.
Triple stun from the boys. Trill very low. Gladiator Safeguard going to proc. Touch of Karma exchanged. Seedu's running in for the stun. They're going after Smexen. I anticipate at this moment in time, but Trill is still very low. Eventually consider active for Seedu. Touch of Death as well. Perfect timing by Method Orange to push through. Will the defense that's active be enough? Smexen takes the hit. Barely holds on. Ironbark Lichborn going to be fading, but it looks like Smexen is recovered. Gorecki gripped in, but no stun, unfortunately. Perhaps a bit of a blunder. Now Smexen in trouble. Gorecki's interrupted. The Paladin Windwalker Death Knight is looking deadly.
Method Orange is looking like their old self at this point. They have pressure all over the place. They know exactly what they're doing in this matchup. Smexen's low, Chun-Li's low. You can see Gorecki, his mana is not doing great. He's in a Hammer of Justice. He's got no trinket. Method Orange doing a great job, and they take down Smexen. They actually do that? Method Orange looks so good in that game from start to finish, riding the momentum, going after Gorecki, going after Smexen, perfect timing, and they did it. They stayed in the upper bracket.
I mean, this is monumental for Method Orange. We've been talking about them struggling in this meta, struggling to qualify even for the Summer Finals. Now they have 80 points guaranteed in this cup. That's a 60-point lead over the move, and also actually overtaking M2KC, who are in the lower bracket, depending on their performance. This is huge for Seedu and his team. They needed this win, and they looked absolutely insane in that game. Everything went the way of Method Orange. This was the perfect pick for them.
Yeah, and I really like that they did not repeat the same mistake that they were doing last week, where they were just chasing Gorecki no matter what the entire game. They had insane pressure on Gorecki, but whenever they couldn't reach him, they just tap targeted over to Smexin, went over to Chun-Li, made sure to keep that pressure going. And if you look at Gorecki's mana, he was completely tapped almost, and we haven't even gotten close to dampening here, and that's because of their effective target selection. And you know, Trill and Maz as well in this game just doing so much damage. Sea-Doo as well, on that Holy Paladin being so aggressive, constantly chasing Gorecki, throwing out the Hammers of Justice, making sure that his team has the pressure. And here in the end as well, that Hammer of Justice just put Gorecki even further behind there and allowed Method Orange to secure that kill. So I guess he was right. The Holy Paladin seemed better in mirrors.
Yeah, I think it seemed pretty fair, and they played great onto Gorecki. They then got the kill on Smexin. It just seemed like they had complete pressure lead. The healing was better. Everything about that seemed fantastic for Method Orange. And look now, they have 80 points from this tournament, meaning that they are at 340. The Move got 20 and are at 280. So that tie that we were talking about at the start of the tournament is already completely shattered. M2KC are next on the menu. M2KC, the team we will be watching to see how they can perform. They actually could be in the danger zone now, Zico. We were talking about it a little bit, that Method Orange could potentially be the team that doesn't make it. Now they're the ones at the forefront. They're the ones playing against Cloud9 in that upper bracket battle. I can't even believe it. Absolutely incredible. M2KC, they are under pressure. They need to beat No Name here, keep that advantage over the Move. And I mean, the boys are also down there in lower. That's a formidable enemy to have to even comprehend playing against.